Okay, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our next speaker, Bernadette Vadurro. She has been presenting for over 20 years to organizations such as the CIA, Chrysler Corporation, Farm Credit Bankers, and many associations. She's also an award-winning author. Bernadette has been described by many audiences as dynamic, exciting, and highly motivational. She is past president of the New Mexico State Chapter of the NSA and the past president of Capital City Toastmasters. Today, she's going to show us how to get free publicity. Please help me to welcome Bernadette Vadurro.
Thank you. I am so excited to be with each and every one of you today. Are you excited to be here today? Yeah. Well, will you turn to one or two people, give them a high five, a handshake, or a head nod, and tell them you're glad they're here. All righty. Today we're going to talk about how to get free publicity. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because in 2007 I wrote this award-winning book, and I spent $40,000 of my own US dollars to get publicity. And what I found was that I was actually better at getting publicity than my publicist. So those of you who are sitting up front and have one of these keys, I want to ask you a couple of questions. And the first question I have for you is how many of you have ever paid a publicist? And you have 10 seconds to say one or two. One is yes and two is no. This is a very cool audience response system. I like to be on the cutting edge of everything I do for my customers and clients. And this is one of the very cool things. So everybody had a chance to say yes or no. The next slide should tell us that 76% of you in the room said no, you have not paid a publicist. 26% have said yes. All right, so the next question for you, for those of you that said yes, if you would tell us, were you greatly satisfied, 1, 2, somewhat satisfied, or 3, it was a waste of money. Please go ahead and respond now. All right, so very quickly, you can grow this system to 250 that I have, and you can give it to your audiences and get instant feedback about how they feel about things. It helps to make your presentations and programs even more interactive, which we know today people don't want to hear talking heads. They want to be involved in the presentation. So, here's where we are. A waste of money, 67%, and 33% that's somewhat satisfied. So, that has indicated that my $40,000, what I always say is I should have stood by the toilet, took $100 bills, and continued to flush the toilet, because that's about how well it worked. So let's launch into the program. If you would be so kind as to please fasten your seatbelts and put on your thinking caps, because we are taking off. All right, here we go. Radio. Producers are looking for you. Turn to the person next to you and say, they're looking for you. On the country. Very good. They want you. Because they want to bring guests that can bring value to their show. And that we know each and every one of us has tremendous amount of value in what we do, our experiences, the stories that we have, and we're very articulate in what we say and do. I want to give you an example from the Federation President, Jana Barlow. She does an incredible speech on Barack Obama, who I happen to be very, very fond of, our President of the United States. And she does something that is called a news peg. She does a talk that is called Barack Obama Speak, and she takes it apart. What is it? Go ahead.
Barack Speak.
Barack Speak, thank you. And she takes his speech apart and helps you understand the psychological impact of what he does and how he does it and what he says it. So that is something called a news peg. Now, what we have going on in the United States right now is the 2012 presidential debate. So this will be occurring very soon. And so that is a hook that she could potentially take to CNN, Fox News, NBC, ABC, radio stations all over the world who are interested in her take on what she hears and sees during the course of those debates. Now, I'm using this as an example, and I'd like for you to begin thinking about your topic, the areas that you are an expertise, and how you can apply this to each of your own arenas, all right? Timing is everything in PR and news. So it means that you need to be starting and be prepared and ready with your materials, your articles, your ideas that are fleshed out and good to go, so that when those books arrive, that you can comment about them on radio, television, and in print. Talk shows. Here is a list. If you go to Wikipedia and you just type in list of talk show hosts, you will get an entire list of talk show hosts across the globe of who you might tap into. In the US, we have something called the 50 Top Talk Show Talkers. And there was a couple of talk shows I wanted to get on, and what I did is I just called and called and nagged and nagged. I felt like I was nagging. Do you know what that word means? How many of you have a wife, a husband, or spouse that bugs you to do things? That is a nag, all right? So that's what you want to do in a positive and friendly way. And every time you pick up the phone, you say, hi, this is Tim Wade, and I'm calling you again to remind you when something exciting comes up that is in my topic of presentation skills, I'm your man to discuss this with you, all right? So don't be shy about it. Here, if you can't get on mainstream radio, you can actually have your own blog radio. Here is an example of the 939 talk show that goes on.
938.
938, okay, thank you. I couldn't see the last number, but you're all familiar with it. When I Googled Singapore radio shows, here is a huge list of talk show hosts, and they're always looking for fresh new voices that can come and visit with them about programs. Many times they're so hungry for information that if you call and give them an available date, you can become their featured guest speaker for that day. All right? I'd like to talk with you about a friend of mine, Martin Pressey. He's a Canadian who has a full-time job at the health department, and he wants very much to become a speaker. So he did a brilliant thing last year. He went ahead and created a blog radio and went on Facebook to look at some of the most popular speakers on Facebook. And I received an email from him that said, would you be a guest on my radio show? And I said, of course, none of us would give away free publicity, would we? And so you can see the world champion, you know, there's Bob Huey, there's Darren Lacrosse, my friend Ed Tate, and Darren Lacrosse again, and there's me, yours truly, Bernadette Vadurro. What was nice is that he dealt with everything. All I had to do was get the link for the MP3 podcast, put it in my newsletter, and all of a sudden my 2,300 clients got to hear a 1-hour program on how I started speaking, my speaking practice 22 years ago. And that, he said, was one of the most listened to podcasts that he had. Now, he picked up some great content for his book, The Booyah Guide to Public Speaking, which is the name of his radio station, The Booyah Hour, you know, with Martin Pressey. And it's really cool the way he does it. So all of the speakers who have been presenters on his talk show also now can go to his website. And of course, what are we going to do? We're going to sign up for his free tips. And so you want to have a sign-up system, whether you use Constant Contact or WebEx or whatever mechanism that you are using. It is important to begin capturing your admirers, your fans, and your clients' names and addresses. It's the green way to do business and stay in touch with them, as I'll show you in just a moment another concept. It doesn't cost any money to have a blog talk radio. If you don't have the full slides, because I am a fanatic, I'm always adding slides, leave me your business card and I'll make sure to give you the link to the full slides that you have, that you will need to have there. So here's the free. And you can still have the link. You can have some of your best friends sign up, 10 people. Even though you have 5 subscribers, you can have 2 people. It could be your mother, and you know, I mean, no one needs to know. And you give them a set of questions that you want. What's nice about these sorts of things is that you can turn them into product. You can use them for promotional purposes. There's 1,000,001 things that you can do with them. So it's an excellent resource. Now, what you want to become is what our president of NSA is, the go-to person in a specific topic. You can see right here that she's been on CNN, she's been on Fox News. She has an entire page that goes on and on of news media that have picked her up for specific interviews when they want to talk about how to increase productivity and performance in the workplace. So think about your topics and think about, again, niche, niche, niche. What are we going to niche? And I know that I shouldn't say that because I tend to be somewhat of a generalist, For 22 years, it has been important to pay the tuition, to do whatever we've been doing in our household, and so I've been much of a journalist. But as I get older, I'm feeling, yes, it's important to begin to niche even more myself. All right. Here's another example of HRM. We should know this organization. We should become best friends with this organization. This is the HR managers, which many times have advisory potential, if not the actual potential to hire you. They can advise their managers and their supervisors about you. And you see, you can, I'm going to go back to that slide, you can submit to them inside case studies and become a guest contributor. Something short and sweet about your topic, what it is that you do, and then you can submit it, get an article, and possibly even a television interview. Here again, they have the television that goes with it, and you can piggyback on each and every one of these elements. I have taken a little piece of a snippet at an NSA convention where I accidentally was reported talking about when you go to a convention, make sure that you go back and implement at least one thing. 5 is better, but at least one thing. I think that's all about I said at this particular moment, but that's what got captured on the television news, along with Kristen Arnold giving an interview, a formal interview, and then we linked that and we embedded it in, again, newsletters, website, and we maximized it. So that's the kinds of things that you want to begin doing. You can make comments about things that are going on. Everybody is now virtual. They're all online. So if there's any discussion that is related to your topic, and how would you know? How would you know if there's something related going on to your topic? How would you quickly know within 24 hours?
Google Alerts.
Thank you. Google Alerts would tell you. So you want to put words in that are related to your topic, and when something comes up and it's being talked about, you can go to the site, you can submit a comment, and especially a controversial comment. Controversial comments are things that are interesting, and you don't want to be contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian, but if you can find another angle, another pitch, a different idea, a different vantage point, it's going to increase the value of your comment and the likelihood that you're going to get more people commenting on what you've just said. And you get on the target or the radar of the people that are hiring or looking for people to bring on for interviews. Does that make sense? All right. So again, here's an example of online forums, print forums. You can agree with things, you can disagree. There's always the opportunity for the comments. One of my favorite things in the US and in most countries is the opportunity to submit an editorial, a letter to the editor. How many of you have ever written a letter to the editor? Okay? So you can say, think about what is your topic. Somebody, anybody in the room that I can pick on. Lynn, what is your topic?
Mentoring.
Mentoring. Okay, so you put Google Alerts in there, anything that's about coaching, mentoring, teams, those sorts of words that come up. Article comes up in a couple of business, Forbes, Fortune, whatever the local business magazines are, and you go and you read the article, and then you write a letter to the editor. How much I love that article. And in addition, here are 3 other things that I do in my practice. That does not cost a thing. And guess what's one of the most well-read pieces of any magazine or newspaper? The letters to the editor. Almost always people are interested in what other people are saying. So it's a great way to, again, start getting some free publicity. Then you make a copy of your letter to the editor with the magazine. Now you are featured in Fortune magazine in your letter to the editor. It's a fun way and it's free. I mean, how many of you have spent months and months trying to get in Fortune magazine and your letter to the editor finally makes its way in there, right? Okay, good. So again, CNN Money, anything, if you're a financial wizard and you see something going on, you can submit a letter as well. All right, before social media, you talk to 1 or 2 friends. Today, you post it, and before you know it, it has gone virtual and worldwide, and the entire world has an opportunity to see it. 4 billion YouTubes are downloaded daily. If you do not own your own YouTube channel, then that is the #1 recommendation that I would ask you to take away with you. create little snippets of the things that you are doing and put them on YouTube so that people can begin to see you. All right, it's free, it's easy. Google owns it, so what does that mean? Your name rises to the top when people Google you. If you have a YouTube channel, which is so easy to set up, your name is going to rise very quickly to the top. You can insert those videos, again, as I mentioned before, in your newsletters, emails, etc. Have a Facebook fan page. How many of you have a Facebook fan page? Okay, excellent. My personal philosophy is when I reach 5,000, which I'm almost there, then I will create a fan page. It's just my own issue that I have. I'm very careful about who my friends are. I check who they are. I make sure you're someone I want to be friends with. And I think then creating a fan page, I mean, I have a couple of fan pages, but I don't promote them as actively. And you will need to decide which media of the social mediums you're going to use. With Ping FM, how many of you are using Ping FM right now? Okay, good. Ping FM is if you don't know what it is, get it. It's a free piece of software that you can add, say, here's my blog, here's my YouTube video, and it goes to your Facebook, your Twitter account, your LinkedIn, your Plaxo, to your RSS, everything that you have, it will go out to automatically, and you can pre-program it. So say Sunday nights, Monday mornings, you want to use Ping FM. So make connections on Facebook. This is my Facebook page, Bernadette Vadurro. If you ask to be my friend, you will all immediately be approved. Here's our president. Shirley is our president. And how did I meet her? Scott Friedman, of course, the connector of the world. Scott Friedman knew me, knew Shirley, and voila, here I am, speaking 6 times in 2 weeks. All right, he's magic. We all want to become like Lady Gaga with 47 million friends. Isn't that be great? Marketing would be so easy. An example of the spiritual guru, you know, Steve Spangler, who I love so much. Great examples, having articles, videos, content. You want to become a love cat and become distinct. The most important thing is for people to feel like they are connecting with you because you're providing them with value, with articles, information that can help them. If you're there saying, book me, it's not going to happen. Social media is about giving and being a consultant. And when you approach it from that vantage, the contracts and the clients will come in quickly. So again, it's not just about having the most friends, it's about having quality relationships and adding value. So, you know, having pictures, comments, recommendations, uploading tips, linking to other people's websites, reciprocating is important to adding those values. Have a camera and never leave home without it. This is so important. I take my camera everywhere and I take pictures of people. I go randomly to people I don't know sometimes and say, can I get my picture with you? And I'll post it. I mean, at events like this, not on the street. So this is a picture of myself with Pamela Wigglesworth. I knew exactly who she was when I saw her here. I was like, oh my goodness. And here is a picture of Rhonda. Rhonda's in the back, one of my business partners. There's Pamela, and there's me with my mouth hanging open. But isn't that cool to have an immediate connection, to be able to say yes? And she said, I'm coming to your session. So I said, well, you will be in my session as well. Thank you for the privilege and opportunity of providing a few tips and strategies for you. That was the fastest half hour I've ever seen. Well, that was quite a half hour.
Right on time.
Well, I believe in stuffing information into my participants' heads in every possible conceivable way. Usually don't go that fast, but I really wanted you to have value from this session. So I wish you the best of luck. Please leave the clickers are here. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit more about these?
This is called an audience response system. I have a daughter in college, and she was telling me about it, and I said I absolutely have to have one. Serendipitously, the next month I was out at a client's, and I mentioned it, and since I was doing leadership training for the top management team, they said, oh, we have one. I said, I want to use it, and they made it happen. So the next day I got to try it, and then 2 weeks later I ordered the system. And so this is about $1,200 for 30 clickers. You can add clickers on, you can go to 250 with this system that I have, so you can add as you're doing larger audiences. I do a lot of training, and my training is usually 25 to 30 people. So for this application, it's great. And it's easy to embed, you can embed it into PowerPoint, so. All right? Thank you again, I appreciate it. I'll be around for the rest of the day, and I'll be here in Singapore through the 17th. So I have cards or nameplates or name tags, and I'm happy to give them out. Contact me, email, and I would love to chat with you. I'll be at Marina Bay by myself for a couple of days till my husband gets here. So if you want to have coffee or visit, I'm there. All right? Thank you.
Let's end the